Welcome, welcome, welcome to our masterclass, the 5-Pillar Etsy Success Formula. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Kate Hayes, and I'm going to be walking you through step by step today my signature method for Etsy success. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So I'm Kate. I've been an Etsy seller since 2015, but it wasn't until 2 years later, 2017, when I actually became a 6-figure business owner, and my Etsy shop started ranking in the top 1% of all Etsy shops. I'm also a wife and a mama to 3 awesome, precious kiddos. I'm a peppermint mocha fanatic, and I'm passionate about seeing other entrepreneurs and small business owners succeed. But most of all, I'm passionate about living a life of freedom. So I'm sure you can probably relate to this. There are different types of freedom, but I'm talking specifically about financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. So financial freedom being that you don't have a budget that is just so strapped that you can't afford to do anything extra. You have some freedom and flexibility in your budget. And then also time freedom, meaning that you can work whenever you want. You don't have to be on a 9 to 5 schedule. You don't have to clock in for somebody else every day. You can work on your own time. And then, of course, location freedom, meaning that you can work wherever you want, whenever you want. So if you want to work from home in your PJs, go for it. If you want to work while you're at the lake, on the boat, go for it. If you want to work after your kids go to bed or wherever, whenever you want, it's a life of freedom and flexibility. So if you're watching this class today, I'm guessing that you're probably one of 3 different types of people. You're probably either number 1, which I'm calling over the grind. So this is the person that's working a full-time job that you probably don't enjoy. You dread every Monday because it's the start of a new work week, and then you come home exhausted from the 9 to 5 grind each and every day. The environment at your work causes you a constant feeling of stress, and you just wish you could do something that you actually love and enjoy and that would fulfill you. So that's person number 1. Or maybe you're type number 2, which is family first. Maybe your family is what you value above everything else in life, and you long to spend quality time with them, but you have work obligations that you can't pull away from. Those are things that take you away from your family, and they cause you guilt about missing out on really important things in life. If you're a mom, you might relate to this because I have definitely experienced this mom guilt of being pulled away by work obligations and just wishing that I could be with my babies and spending time and not missing those really important milestones. So you probably also wish that you could provide more for your kids, to have experiences and activities, but the budget's just too limited. And you probably dream of a job that would allow you to work from the comfort of your own home with your babies and provide financial freedom for your family. Or maybe you're type number 3, the dreamer. So this is you. You find enjoyment and purpose in using your natural creative abilities, but just don't know how to get them out into the world yet. You probably don't think of yourself as a business professional, and though you rock it at all things creative, the business side of things is a bit overwhelming and kind of daunting. You probably also feel stuck in your current job because deep down, you know that you're helping to build someone else's dream instead of your own dream. And you've probably also wondered at one time or another if you'd ever actually be able to make it, or at least be able to make a full-time income using your craft like you've seen others do. So whether you're type number 1, 2, or 3, I bet overall you are a freedom seeker. That's what we all are, I'm willing to guess. We're all looking for that life of freedom and flexibility. So I want to tell you that now is the time. If you've been thinking about selling on Etsy, or maybe you already are on Etsy and you're just not sure if you want to continue trying to grow your shop, now is the time, because Etsy growth and number of shoppers has actually skyrocketed over the last few years, and it continues to rise. So the numbers were in 2019, there were 46.3 million active shoppers on the platform, which took a huge leap to 2020, which then ended up with 81.8 million active shoppers, and continued to rise to 2021 with 96.3 million active shoppers, and it just continues to grow. So Etsy is becoming bigger and bigger, more well-known. This is also partly due to Etsy actually putting more effort into their marketing and their advertising. So they're consistently bringing in new shoppers through their increased marketing efforts. So between October and December of 2021, Etsy spent $204 million on their various marketing campaigns. So they're really doubling down on marketing to be more well known and to bring in new shoppers. One reason I love Etsy is because you can start small and grow over time. So there's no upfront fees to sell on Etsy. There's little startup costs needed. Really, the only startup cost would be just what you need to create your first round of materials if you're selling a tangible product. And there's no expensive software needed. You can do everything. All of your research can be done on Etsy itself. Of course, there are other programs you can use, but if you're just starting with a super limited budget, you don't have to pay for any expensive software and you don't have to have any prior business experience. But you do need a few things, and that would be determination, drive, and willingness to implement the right strategies. These are the things you definitely need if you want to be successful on Etsy. So just ask yourself, do you have those few things? Are you self-motivated and willing to learn and implement the right strategies? And if you are and you have that drive, then that is all you need to get started. So if you do have those things, but you don't really know the right strategy, I have got you covered, because in today's class, we are going to be going over my 5 pillars of Etsy success. So these are the 5 pillars. They're foundational things that have worked for me since 2015 in growing and building my Etsy shop. And there are tons of strategies, but these are the top 5 that I would say you have to have all of these in place to be successful in Etsy. So we're going to go through these 5 pillars. This is a profitable product in a predicted or a proven trend, using purposeful SEO with professional looking photos, and then of course, proactively promoting it to your community. These are the 5 pillars that you'll need to use to generate steady growth, consistent sales, and sustainable income. And then at the end of our class today, I'm going to be opening up enrollment for my full comprehensive Etsy success course, Etsy Income Academy, at an incredible discount with some expiring bonuses that are only available on this masterclass. So you definitely want to watch all the way to the end for that. So first, a little bit about me. That's me and my precious kiddos and my hubby on the right there. So in 2015, when I started my Etsy shop, I had at the time 2 kids. We hadn't yet adopted our oldest daughter, but at the time I had my son who was a toddler and my daughter who was an infant. I was also working 2 jobs that also included evenings and weekends, and I was completely stressed out and overwhelmed and exhausted. We had a very limited budget and hardly any quality time as a family because my husband and I were both working and our schedules didn't align a lot of times. So we were kind of just missing each other, and I was just completely burnt out. Fast forward to today, and I have an Etsy shop that's generating multiple 6-figure revenue while being able to serve thousands of people with my passion and on something I love to do. And I have the freedom and flexibility in my life to be able to work on what I want, when I want, where and how I want, which is just the best feeling ever. And it's all because of that humble little Etsy shop that I took a chance on 7 years ago. So let's go ahead and dive into these 5 pillars. So pillar number 1 is a profitable product. So what I mean by this is you're going to choose a broad product category. This is a broad category. We'll get more specific in just a minute, but the first step is to choose and validate a product category that is actually going to sell well on the Etsy platform. So when we're thinking broad product category, I'm talking things like t-shirts, spa products, business printables, leather jewelry. They're things that are in this broad product category. So first, let's talk about Etsy as a marketplace as opposed to some other marketplaces you might be familiar with like Amazon or eBay. So they all appeal to a different type of audience, and Etsy has a specific type of audience that come and shop on Etsy for a specific reason because it appeals to them over places like Amazon and eBay. Mainly because Etsy is known for offering handcrafted items and items that are very unique and a lot of times customizable and things like that, as opposed to a different marketplace that's just reselling manufactured items. So just to illustrate this point, I did a search on Etsy for leather bracelet and I did a search for weed eater. So of course, we wouldn't normally think of buying a weed eater on a place like Etsy. That's just not what does well on Etsy, right? Because Etsy is a handmade marketplace. So unless you're hand making some kind of unique weed eater, this is not going to be a good product category for Etsy specifically. And you can see that proven with these screenshots here. Leather bracelet returned over 242,000 search results and weed eater only just over 1,000, which many of those are probably going against Etsy policy anyway, because people are listing things that are not handmade. So we want to find a broad product category that sells well on Etsy specifically as a marketplace and is currently in demand and not outdated. We're also not trying to reinvent the wheel here. A lot of times sellers get on and try to think of something completely brand new, something that hasn't been thought of before, but you really don't have to do that. We're going to take clues from what's already working and already trending well on Etsy and put our own twist and spin on that. So it's crucial to take the time in the beginning to do this research and validate whatever product category you're thinking of to ensure that it's going to be in demand and sell really well on the Etsy platform specifically. So think of it like a neighborhood and a house you're trying to sell in a specific neighborhood. So for our analogy, let's say that Etsy is the neighborhood that we've chosen to sell in, right? And we're trying to build and sell a house that will actually sell well for that specific neighborhood. So different neighborhoods might have different types of houses that fit best for that neighborhood, and they will sell better to the people that are already looking and shopping around in that neighborhood. So if Etsy is our neighborhood, we could have a house type that's Craftsman, French Country, Ranch, Victorian, right? There's different types of houses. So we're looking at the broader product category, the broader type of house for this specific neighborhood. And then step or pillar number 2 is to niche it down and get a little more specific with it. So in pillar 2, we're using a proven or a predicted trend to niche down. We're taking that broad product category and then we're getting more specific to identify trending style elements. So for this pillar, we're taking a step further, niching down by style, because category type, just that broad category type, is not enough. We have to offer products in a trending style that's either a proven trend or a predicted trend. So I'm talking about things like color schemes, fonts, patterns, shapes, aesthetics, themes, scents, material. These are all things that I call trend elements. So we're talking about specific trending elements to incorporate into your products. So going back to our house analogy, we have, let's say we've chosen a Craftsman style house for our Etsy neighborhood, right? We have the broad type of house, but then we're going to get more specific with style choices. So for our Craftsman house, we could have an exterior wall that has brick, stone, hardy plank siding, stucco, wood, right? There's different styles of walls that you can incorporate into a house. So we not only have to have the right broad category type, but also the right trending elements. So I mentioned that this can work with either a proven trend or a predicted trend. So a proven trend is one that's already been on the rise, it's already been established, and it's been really popular for a while on Etsy. A predicted trend is one that's on the rise, but it's not quite hit its peak yet. It's not quite been totally proven to be a trend, but it's been predicted to be a trend coming soon. So either of these paths work, whether you focus on a proven trend or a predicted trend. So let's talk about the difference between those and how to focus in on each. So for a proven trend, a great way to start is to go on Etsy. You're going to type in a keyword phrase that might be something you would use in your listing that describes your product, and take note of the results that come up on the first and second page. So within those results, you'll see underneath some of them a little yellow tag that says either bestseller or popular now. So these are the badges we're going to look for to be like a clue saying, hey, I'm a listing that's selling really well and consistently right now. Look at what style elements I'm using. So you're going to look at those listings that have either bestseller or popular now underneath them, and look at what trend elements you see recurring over and over again. That's a clue for you that you could use that same trend element in your product. Now, like we said, you could also go with a predicted trend that's maybe not hit its peak yet, but it's on the rise. And there's several different websites and resources that make these kind of predictions that can clue you in to what is predicted to be popular very soon. So we'll get to those in just a second, but in general, whether you're using a proven or a predicted trend, I encourage you to identify at least 4 to 5 of these trend elements to get started with that you would put your own spin and twist on to incorporate into your products. So trend elements are something we talk a lot about. We dive deep into inside of Etsy Income Academy. You'll see here, these are 2 of our pages that we have as our PDF support documents when we talk about our trend elements inside of the Academy. But these are explanations of some different types of trend elements depending on your niche, as well as a whole list of prompts that you can go through to get your brain going on what might be some relevant trend elements for your product niche specifically. So let's dive into some websites and resources that you can specifically use to find these trending elements. So number 1, we already touched on, which is using the Etsy search bar, just looking at the predictive phrases that pop up when you start typing in a word. There'll be suggestions for phrases that pop up. And so use those because those are phrases that are being searched very consistently on Etsy right now. And like we said, you're going to look at those first and second page of search results to start to notice any kind of trending patterns, color schemes, any of those elements that you want to look specifically at for your product niche, what's repeating over and over again. Etsy also has a page called Etsy Trends, which you can look at. It'll tell you what's currently trending on Etsy, as well as the Etsy Marketplace Insights report. So these reports are articles that Etsy comes out with a couple times a year to update sellers on what is coming, what is trending for the upcoming year and the upcoming season. You can also use Pinterest. So Pinterest Pinterest is not Etsy, obviously, but there's a lot of overlap, and Pinterest is a great place for Etsy sellers to do product research and trend research to see what's on the rise. So, two websites by Pinterest specifically: Pinterest Trends and Pinterest Predicts. So, Pinterest Predicts is a website where you can go on, and each year at the beginning of the year, they post their predictions for that year, and they usually get the majority of them right. The things that they predict on that website do end up usually making a huge rise for that year in terms of trending styles. And then Pinterest Trends is a website that'll tell you what's been surging on Pinterest that week. So it's like real time, current data on what has been trending for the past week on Pinterest, which does have a lot of overlap with Etsy. I also love the website Creative Market for doing research. So if you're familiar with Creative Market, this is an awesome website where you can get all kinds of digital assets. But in addition to the resources that you can actually purchase on Creative Market, they have some really good research tools, one of them being the Get Inspired tab. So if you go to creativemarket.com, click Get Inspired, you'll see a tab that has design trends for the current year. So this will clue you in, especially if you're a digital product seller, what is trending in the design world. And they also have an email newsletter that goes out once a week. So if you're signed up for that, you'll get their weekly newsletter, which talks about what's been popular this week in design trends. You can always, of course, use Etsy specific research tools. My top two favorites are Sales Samurai and Everbee. So these are both tools that you can use. Sales Samurai is a web tool. It's got a whole website with analytics as well as a Chrome extension. Everbee is also an awesome Etsy-specific Chrome extension that you can install. And both of these will give you analytics when you do keyword research. You can type in a keyword you're thinking of, and it'll show you analytics. So for instance, this is a screenshot from an Everbee search I did with the term nursery decor. So when I typed in nursery decor, Everbee pulled up this page of analytics telling me the top ranking listings for that keyword phrase, the estimated monthly number of sales, the estimated monthly revenue. I can also click on the listing and it'll show me what that listing's title is, what keyword phrases they've used for their tags, what the price point is. So this is just a wonderful tool to do this kind of product research if you're wanting to take it a step further. So let's continue with our example of nursery decor. Let's say that that is our broad product category that we've decided we want to offer products in the category of nursery decor. We do our trend element research with some of those different resources that I mentioned. And this is an example of a list of trend elements that I could incorporate into my nursery decor products. So I could incorporate a boho color scheme, which is super popular right now, personalized names, watercolor designs, a scripty font, which I saw over and over again, and minimalist designs. So that's an example of how to take a broad product category and narrow and niche it down into specific trend elements. Now let's move on to pillar number 3, which is purposeful SEO. So if you're not familiar with SEO, that stands for search engine optimization. And we need to look at this because Etsy is a search engine, which just means that people can go on and search for a specific thing they're looking for. So whenever you're using a search engine, you need a way to optimize your listings to be found in the search results and ranked high among the competing listings, because we don't want to be buried on like the 100th page of search results. We want to be found on the top 1 or 2 pages, right? So when you use purposeful SEO, this gives your listings discoverability. This is the ability to actually break through all of these different listings and be discovered in the search. So the Etsy algorithm works in 2 different phases. The first phase is query matching, and the second phase is ranking. So let's talk about that first phase, query matching. So the Etsy algorithm, which is basically just the process Etsy goes through to determine what listings should be shown to a shopper. So the Etsy algorithm goes through this query matching phase first, which is basically just scanning all of the listings on Etsy and determining which listings are a match of some sort, right? They want to find listings that are a match for the query that the shopper has typed in. So to do this, it scans listings in 5 different areas of the listing: the title, the tags, the description on the product, the categories, and the attributes. So we want to make sure we have really highly searched keyword phrases woven in throughout all 5 of those places on our listing, strategically placed in our listing to be matched for that query matching phase. Then once the Etsy algorithm determines, okay, this is the group of listings that is actually a match for the query that the shopper typed in, then we have to figure out within those listings how they should be ranked, in what order they should be shown to the shopper. So like I said, our goal as Etsy sellers is to be ranked high on that first 1 or 2 pages, because that is where the majority of transactions take place. So there are 7 different factors that the Etsy algorithm takes into account in the ranking process. This is a list of those 7, but I want to point out 2 that I find move the needle the most, and that is the listing quality score and the customer and market experience score. So the listing quality score is basically the score for an individual listing and how well it converts into a sale. So the more a specific listing converts into a sale, the higher the conversion rate, the higher it will be ranked in the Etsy search and considered relevant for a shopper. We also really want to pay attention to that customer and market experience score. So this is different than the listing quality score, which is an individual listing score. The customer and market experience score is your overall shop score and how well your shop as a whole has been performing. So this is highly based on how many 5-star reviews you have. If you have any negative reviews, it'll bring that score down. And if you get more positive reviews, it'll bring it up. So we want to focus on that social proof and getting as many of our customers to leave those 5-star reviews as possible. So there is a right and a wrong way to do SEO. We're not just throwing a shot in the dark and hoping to be found, right? That's not the way to have success on Etsy. We're going to be a data-driven business that has a research-based strategy that strategically positions our listings to be found. So we're not hoping, we're doing research and using what's proven to work and using those highly searched keyword phrases and positioning them strategically in our listings to make the most out of our SEO and optimizing our listings to be discovered. All right, pillar number 4 is professional photos. So you have to have professional looking photos on Etsy. You can't have these amateur looking photos anymore. It's just not going to cut it anymore like it maybe used to back several years ago. So we're getting discovered with our SEO, right? That's how we're getting found in the search, but it's not enough to just get found, right? It's great if you're found, but then you're also on a page with several other listings on that page. So even if you're found on that first page, that's great, but you need to get the click on your listings as opposed to the other ones surrounding you. So having appealing photos gives your listings clickability. So remember, SEO was for discoverability, and now we're getting the click by having amazing quality photos on our listing. So I don't want you to feel intimidated by this, because the good news is that you don't have to have your photos taken by a professional. You can totally do this yourself. We just have to know a few basics in terms of what to look for when we're shooting our photos, and then a few simple techniques to edit them afterwards, which you can learn even if you're a beginner. You can totally learn this. It's not as hard as it may sound. So a couple of photo musts. The first thing is we have to have quality photos. We don't want them to look grainy or pixelated at all. We want to have them in a high resolution and the right file type for the type of photo that we have. We also need to have adequate lighting. So there are different forms of lighting. You can have natural, you can use a strobe light, you can use continuous light. But for our purposes, I always say natural lighting is best. Even if you can just get your product by an open window or open up the door, open the blinds, get some natural light sweeping in through the side. That one change right there will make all the difference. So whenever possible, use natural lighting. And then we also want our surface and our background that we're using to be a clean background that's either just clean and undistracting or trendy. We also need to make sure that we're using the right photo style for the product that we have. So different product niches will be photographed in different ways. And there are so many different types of photos that you could take, from a studio shot to a stage shot to lifestyle to a model shot. So you just need to make sure that you are taking the right types of pictures for your product niche and the photos that convert best for that category. And then, like I mentioned before, after you shoot your photos, it's important to know just a few simple editing techniques. I recommend that you get the free Lightroom mobile app. It's totally free and it's really easy to use even for a beginner, but we're thinking about things like brightening up the exposure, getting the right crop, and getting the right color temperature so it's not appearing too orange or blue. It's right in the middle in the right color temperature. So I want to show you a few examples of different lighting scenarios and show you what a difference lighting can make. So in this first example, I just took a few pictures of this card that I had as the product. These pictures were taken in my dining room, so we can see the difference that a dimly lit photo and a well-lit photo make, right? If you were on Etsy and you saw both of these as listing photos, which one would you click on as a shopper? We have to make sure that our lighting is adequate, right? The next one is an example of a house light versus an open window. So again, this was taken in my dining room in the same exact spot. The one on the left was with only my chandelier that's in the dining room. So it was just the house light. And the one on the right was taken with the chandelier off, but the blinds on the window to the side open, letting in the natural sunlight. So you can see again, the one with the house light just appears way too orange and is not appealing like the one with the natural light. All right, this third one is talking about white balance. So you may not be familiar with white balance, and it may be a completely new concept to you, but in the most simple terms, white balance is something that we can really easily calibrate before we take a picture with something called a gray card. This is basically just a little gray thing that you hold up in front of your camera, you take a picture, and then you click set white balance according to that picture. And it basically tells your camera what the right colors are for the situation and the circumstance that you're in. So the picture we see here on the left, I took before I calibrated my white balance with a gray card, and the picture on the right was after I calibrated the white balance. There's no other difference in lighting or anything like that. This is purely the difference in calibrating white balance. So the one on the left was way too blue in terms of color temperature, and the one on the right seems much more natural, and the colors are actually showing correctly what the colors are in real life. So you can literally just make that one little change, get a gray card, and calibrate your white balance ahead of time before you take photos, and it makes the world of difference. All right, and then we have a couple of outdoor shots because I wanted to show you the difference between being in the sun and being in a shady spot if you're taking pictures outdoors. So the sun, of course, you see the one on the left here is way overexposed, way too bright because the sun is just beating down on it. Whereas the one on the right was taken in almost the same spot, the same sunlight, but just in a shady area with some shade over it so that you can actually see it correctly. And the exposure level is appealing instead of being just way too bright and overexposed. We can also see here in this outdoor example, sun versus shade with harsh shadows. So we also have to be careful if we're taking pictures outdoors, we don't want any harsh shadows that are going to be distracting or even cause the product to look different than it really is. So the one here on the left, you can see I positioned in a certain way. I did this on purpose to show you the sun coming in kind of from behind and on the side. It's just not positioned right. And you can see that harsh shadow that's being caused from my backdrop standing up behind the product. The sun is coming in and that backdrop is just causing way too harsh of a shadow there on the surface, as opposed to the one on the right where I just slightly positioned it differently so that the sun was not coming in at that strange angle. And you can see there were no shadows that would be distracting there. So we just have to be careful of overexposure and harsh shadows when we're taking pictures outside. Now, you may be a digital product seller, in which case you wouldn't be taking your own actual photos of any kind of tangible product. You'd probably be using mock-ups, right? So even if you're just using mock-ups and you're not taking your own pictures, there are techniques and things that you need to be aware of with using mock-ups in terms of choosing the right style of mock-ups, where to actually find quality photos for mock-ups. And if you're not familiar, mock-ups are just an image that has already been taken by someone else that you're going to purchase. So you're purchasing this image to layer your design on top of to show the shopper what the product actually looks like, because as a digital product seller, you may not ever have that tangible product in your hands. So this gives a way for you to show the shopper what it looks like on the product, as opposed to just listing a file of the design itself. And this is something that we dive deep into inside of Etsy Income Academy. So I give you all of the resources, all of the websites, and all of the know-how in terms of both taking your own photos and using digital mockups. Okay, so now we're going to move on to pillar number 5, which is proactive promotion. So promoting and marketing your Etsy shop is crucial to Etsy success. You can do steps 1 through 4 that we talked about completely perfectly and have the best of all of that. But if you don't have a marketing plan in place, you'll likely never get off the ground. So like we talked about before, the Etsy algorithm is heavily based on sales volume and sales velocity. So the listings that are getting ranked higher are consistently making those sales, and they're stacking those sales on the listing over and over again, which tells Etsy, hey, this is converting really well, show it first. So in the beginning, when we don't have a lot of sales, we're not going to be able to rely on the organic Etsy traffic that's already on the platform. That'll come later, but in the beginning, we have to work on building and stacking up some sales to get our listings ranking. So we're going to do this by driving traffic from external platforms. So it's up to us to get that momentum going by stacking sales on some listings, because remember, the more sales you have on a listing, the higher it'll be ranked. So unfortunately, Unfortunately, the Etsy algorithm probably won't be showing you very high in the search to the organic audience that's on Etsy until you get some sales rolling and stacking on your listings. So then the question is, well, how do I get those first few sales to get it going, right? So the answer is to use marketing. We're going to be using both external and internal marketing. So mainly external marketing. This is where we're going to be driving traffic from external sources and external platforms. And I call this my 3-step marketing roadmap. So out of all there's so many different types of digital marketing, right? Out of all those different types, I have 3 that really work well. They're the best, in my opinion, for Etsy sellers to drive traffic. And that is social media marketing, email marketing, and influencer marketing. So inside of Etsy Income Academy, this is the marketing roadmap that we use. We talk about each of these 3 in depth, as well as some additional marketing tactics. But we also talk about how to use internal marketing as well, which would be paid Etsy ads. So this is definitely not necessary if you don't have a budget for Etsy ads in the beginning. But if you do have a small budget to test it out, it's great to try out paid Etsy ads as well, because they do help you gain visibility, and you can set your budget whether you want to try out just even $1 or $2 a day in the beginning, just to see if it gains some momentum for you. But let's talk a little deeper about this 3-step marketing roadmap. So in our marketing roadmap, we talked about social media, email, and influencer marketing. So with social media, we're just going to pick one platform to start with. I don't want you to try to feel like you have to be on every single social media platform. It's overwhelming. Just pick one. And when you're picking the right one, make sure to think about where your target audience, your target ideal customer is already hanging out. Which platform are they already on? And you can think about intent for this. There's search intent and discovery intent. So some platforms lend themselves more to people that have search intent, which means they're going onto that platform to specifically search for something. This would be a platform like YouTube or Pinterest, right? These are places where people already have in their mind maybe a problem or something they're trying to solve, and they need an answer or a solution for it. So they're going on with search intent to find the answer. That's opposed to discovery intent, which would be more of people going onto that platform with not really something specific or a problem in mind, but it's more just to discover something new that might educate them or entertain them. So this would more likely be a platform like Instagram or TikTok, a platform where they're going to be scrolling through to discover whatever comes up on their feed. So you'll just need to think about your target customer, your ideal customer. Do they have more of a search intent or a discovery intent? And that will inform you as to which social media platform would be best to focus on. And then, of course, we're going to work on our email marketing by building an email list. Now, again, don't get intimidated by this. I know it can be really overwhelming when you think, well, I don't have an email list. I don't even have a single subscriber on an email list. How do I start to build that? There is a whole process using lead magnets and landing pages and content marketing to start building your email list. Again, this is something we go deep into inside of Etsy Income Academy, but the simple version of it is that you're going to start building your email list, because email actually has a higher return on investment when compared to other forms of communication. So out of the 3 of these are all important, but I'd say email is probably the one that's going to move the needle the most, because once you start to build that list, you can start to send out a weekly email newsletter, and then you own your email list, as opposed to being dependent on something like a social media algorithm that can change or drop you at any time, or your account can be suspended at any moment. When you have an email list, you own your list and you can contact your people whenever, however, about whatever you want, right? So when you have a deal or a promotion or something like that going, a flash sale, you have a list of people that have already opted in and said, I'm interested in what you have, and you can send that to them, and it has a higher return through email as opposed to social media. Social media has a lot of benefits in other ways, and that's why we're going to be focusing on both. And then the third step to this roadmap is influencer marketing. So this is where we're going to be finding micro influencers to partner with and to feature your shop and your products on their accounts. Now, I want to make sure you caught that it's a micro influencer. I'm not talking about a mega influencer that has millions of followers. We're strategically looking for micro influencers that maybe have less than 10,000 followers at this point, but they still have somewhat of an audience built up in your specific niche. So it has to be an influencer that has something to do with your product type. And we're going to be identifying those influencers and reaching out to them to collaborate. And most of the time, this means that you're either going to be offering that influencer to pay them for a feature on their account, or offering them free product to feature on their account. But the good thing about partnering with influencers is that they've already built up an audience that trusts them and that they're personally connected with, right? So you're not having to start from scratch and building up your own audience. You're tapping into an already built audience and already built trust that they have established with that influencer. So it's likely that when that influencer recommends your shop or your product, that they will trust them enough to hop over and look at what you have to offer. So these are the top 3 forms of marketing that I'd recommend you do to start driving traffic from external sources: social, email, and influencer. Now, regardless of which of these marketing tactics you use, they are going to work a lot better if you pair them with an incentive. So an incentive is just a reason or a benefit that you're giving your potential customer to make the purchase now as opposed to waiting for later. These are things like discount codes, flash sales, freebies with their purchase. These incentives help people not to wait because it's kind of human nature to procrastinate and to put things off, right? But let's say you have a flash sale that's 50% off for the next 24 hours. This gives them a reason and a benefit and a reward for purchasing now instead of pushing it off and waiting for later. So regardless of if you're working on social media marketing, email marketing, or influencer marketing, if you pair it with a reward or an incentive, you're going to see a lot higher engagement for that promotion. So this is the 5-pillar formula. These 5 Ps are the foundational things you need to be successful in your Etsy shop. So this is the profitable product, right? That's our broad product category. And then we're going to niche it down to more specific, proven or predicted trend elements that we can incorporate into our product in terms of style. We're going to use purposeful SEO to get discovered in the search. Then we're going to use professional photos to get the click when we're discovered in the search. And then we're going to use proactive promotion to drive traffic to our shop from external platforms to get those sales stacking in the beginning, get them rolling to get our listings ranking higher in the search. So when you combine all 5 of these pillars, you have the makings for a completely successful Etsy shop. So these are the 5 Ps that you'll need to build your business on. And these 5 key elements should inform every single decision you make in your Etsy shop. Trust me, when you dig into this strategy, you will start to see results. So I want to tell you about my student, Allison. She started using the 5-pillar formula and she said this: thanks to your teachings, this month, I've already doubled my sales. She had already gone 9 days in and doubled her sales compared to the whole previous month, which was more than $2,000 in revenue. I was so excited when she told me this because I was thinking, how encouraging is that to go only 9 days into the month and you've already more than doubled your previous month's sales, all from focusing in on these specific 5 pillars. So here's what most people think you need to start on Etsy. They think you need a professional understanding of business, expert level creative skills, right? A large already built-in audience or a following, a large budget for startup costs and marketing, and hours upon hours of free time every day to work on your business. Who has felt that before? I'm totally guilty of that, but that's actually not true. I want to tell you what you actually need to start on Etsy. You only need a few hours a week to work on your shop. You do need to be able to invest in it, but it doesn't have to be the same amount of hours as your full-time job at the beginning. You just need a few hours a week to work on building it. You need a willingness to learn and implement strategy. You need patience and self-motivation, right? Because you're not going to have anybody else telling you what to do. You're going to have to self-motivate and be really driven to make this work. You do need enough money to just buy the materials for the first batch of products that you're wanting to create if you're selling a physical or a tangible products. If you're selling a digital product, you may not need any startup costs at all. But if you're selling your physical products, your startup costs would likely just be what you need for that first round of materials, as well as any equipment or tools that you need. And most importantly, a teachable attitude. We're learning, right? We're learning what strategies to implement, and we always are remaining teachable to up-level our craft and improve our skills. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, that sounds really great, but Etsy is so saturated. How am I ever going to break through? So I totally get that. It can be really intimidating, and I want to just break it down really simply for you. So it is possible to break through. I've seen it. I've done it myself. I've known plenty of others who have done it. So it is possible with the right strategy. And these are the 3 main things that we're going to be working on to break through in the Etsy search. We need a unique selling point first and foremost. So this is coming from our trend elements, like we talked about, doing that product and trend research and finding something that we can offer that's going to be trending, but also uniquely us. We're putting our own spin, our own twist on it. And we're thinking, how can I offer a product in this trending style that's going to be the best product compared to the others that are similar to it? Then we need to focus on that sales stacking on our listings, like we talked about, to be ranked higher in the search. We're going to get those sales rolling in the beginning, get some momentum going, using our marketing efforts, driving traffic from external sources and having our SEO top notch so our listings are optimized to be discovered. And then, of course, we need click appeal for the shopper to choose our listing to click through on as opposed to all the other listings. And that's coming from using pro level photos and mockups. So at the end of the day, those are the three things that you need to break through. And I walk you through all three of these strategies inside of Etsy Income Academy. So you could make it by trying to piece things together on your own and figure it out piecemeal, but having a blueprint or a roadmap that gives you a plug and play plan is going to 10x the time it takes you to get there. So this is like having a blueprint for everything we talked about for product and trend research, SEO strategy, photography, shooting and editing, promoting and advertising your product. So think about it like this. I have these two pictures here. The one on the left is a drone, right? Think about how difficult it would be if you were tasked with putting together a drone piece by piece and someone just threw all the pieces at you and said, have fun, figure it out. No instruction guide at all, no step-by-step manual. You basically just had to look at the pieces and try to figure it out on your own. How absolutely difficult and frustrating would that be? I know I probably would just give up at the end of the day because of being so frustrated that I couldn't figure it out. Or think about trying to put together some complicated piece of like IKEA furniture. If you're familiar with IKEA, think about a piece of furniture you're trying to put together with no step-by-step guide. You're basically just guessing. And then if you do something wrong, you're having to redo it, undo it. It can be the most frustrating process when you don't have a roadmap. But having a step-by-step plan is not only going to make the process easier and lay it out for you, it's going to dramatically speed up the time it takes to see results. So this reminds me of my student, Laura. She had tried to piece things together on her own for a long time and finally realized that she did need a blueprint to show her what to do. So she enrolled in Etsy Income Academy and sent this to me after she had just started the course. And she said, before this course, I was only occasionally making a sale. She was considering quitting and shutting down her shop. And since she had started the course, which at this point she sent this to me was just a little bit into the course, she had already made 3 sales in one day and felt like she had renewed confidence in her abilities. So I was just so happy for Laura. She just got a little bit into the course and had already made 3 sales in one day. Think about how exciting that is to hear 3 of those cha-chings on your phone going off. It's the best feeling in the world to hear that. And since then, Laura has just improved and leveled up her shop and has seen results from following this plan. So I want you to consider this. Why are you here learning from me right now, right? There are other Etsy coaches out there who have a larger audience than me. They have real results in their Etsy shop and they've given tips that really do work for people, but there's a reason that you're here learning specifically from me right now. Maybe it's because you find me relatable and friendly. Maybe it's because I'm a mom and you're a mom too and you relate to that. Maybe you like my style of teaching, or maybe you are a peppermint mocha fanatic too, like me. Or maybe you just relate with my desire for a business that doesn't take up all of my time and leaves room to focus on what's truly important. So whatever the reason you're learning from me, I'm offering you something that's unique and different and that clicks with you, which is why my program might be a better fit for you than someone else's. So I want you to take that same principle. The same thing applies to you when you're selling on Etsy. Are there other people that are going to be selling similar things to you? Maybe the same product category? Yeah, probably so. But you have a unique and different perspective and spin you can put on your products to stand out, which is going to appeal to your target customer. So are there a lot of sellers on Etsy? Absolutely, yes, there are. But is it impossible to break through? No, it's not impossible. It can totally work for you because you have something unique and different to offer. So friends, there is a fork in the road here. So if you're ready to make money from home doing what you love, create a life that offers financial, time, and location freedom, finally have a way out of the 9-to-5 grind, and be able to serve others with your talents and passions, then I've created a system that's going to help you do just that. And that is Etsy Income Academy. So Etsy Income Academy is my signature flagship comprehensive Etsy success course that's going to start from square one and take you all the way through starting, growing, and scaling a successful Etsy shop. No more wasting hours upon hours scouring the internet for Etsy strategy or trying to piece together random tips and tricks that you found here and there. Just a comprehensive A to Z, step-by-step program that's going to walk you through starting, growing and scaling your Etsy shop to provide real, consistent revenue. And when I say comprehensive, friends, I mean comprehensive. This is the most comprehensive Etsy success course out there with over 50 video lessons that are step-by-step tutorials, how to, and I'll show you specifically what they are in a minute, but it's got over 50 video instruction lessons, as well as a whole stack of PDF support documents that you're able to work through as you go through the lessons. These are things like worksheets, calendars, templates, cheat sheets, things that are going to help you as you implement your strategy along the way. We also have a complete bonus module, which is filled with our guest expert trainings on topics that support Etsy sellers in growing their business, and a complete tech and how-to vault. So let's talk through what is included in the main modules of the course. So module number 1 is getting started. This is where we talk about some big picture topics in relation to your business. So first is a welcome and a walkthrough of the course so that you can navigate the course. And then we talk about values, mindsets, and goals for our business, as well as Etsy basics. So if you're a complete beginner, this starts from square one. We talk all through what Etsy is as a marketplace, what works well on Etsy, and what you need to know, the basics and foundations of selling on Etsy, as well as the 5P framework. Then we go to module 2, which is product and branding. So in module 2, we're talking about different types of products that sell well on Etsy, how to do product and trend research. We talk about offering variations and personalization, as well as identifying your target market. This is your target customer, and your shop name and branding, making sure that we establish your business and the legal steps you'll need to take to do that, as well as sourcing wholesale supplies and perfecting your price point. Then in module 3, we talk all about photography and SEO. So module 3 is probably everyone's favorite. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually do photography and SEO. So I talk about the 1-2 punch, which I consider photography and SEO working together because they do work as a team to get you discovered and get your listings clicked on. So we talk about photography basics for product photography, lighting and equipment, background and props, editing your photos, and then we go into what is SEO and how to find the right keywords for your listings and for your niche, and then some more advanced SEO tips that I've personally used for success in my shop. Then we go to module 4, which is setting up your shop. So if you don't yet have a shop set up, this module is going to walk you through step by step. I'm literally showing you my screen as I set up a shop. You can see everything I'm doing, how to set it up for success. And even if you already have your shop set up, this module is still going to be useful and valuable for you because we talk about how to navigate your shop manager. This is basically your hub on the back end of your Etsy shop, where you're going to be talking about your finances and payment account, understanding your stats and your analytics for success, all about shipping and your options for that, how to create a listing that actually is going to sell well, your shop page layout, and planning your public shop launch. Then moving on to module number 5, which is marketing and community. So we talk all about why you need a marketing plan. Why is it important? And then we dive deep into the 3-step marketing roadmap, which of course includes social media marketing, email marketing, and influencer marketing. We have a whole deep dive lesson on each of those and step-by-step walk through how to get started and how to use each of those marketing tactics. We also talk about some additional marketing tactics, which covers media features and blog posts and brand ambassadors, things like that are still other ways that you can drive traffic to your shop. And we also go through paid Etsy ads in this module as well. And then module number 6 is strategies for success. So these are additional strategies for success in growing your Etsy shop that are not mentioned previously in the course. These are things like how to upsell and increase your profit, building social proof, customer service tips, and how to scale. Now, you probably thought I was done there, but we're not done yet because we are offering a whole jam-packed bonus module that features our lineup of guest experts. So these are experts that are pros in their individual fields that we've invited in to give you instruction on things that will support you as an Etsy seller. So this bonus module is super juicy. There is so much value packed into this module. So in the bonus module, we have a print-on-demand tutorial by our guest expert, Jay Byron from Fixed Point Marketing. This is a 2-part step-by-step walkthrough on print on demand. So if you're interested in selling print on demand, this is going to tell you how to create print on demand designs, as well as how to find a print on demand provider and find the right product that you want to offer, and how to upload your print on demand designs to sell on Etsy. So this is a $97 value. Jay also provides a tutorial in the bonus module on digital mockups. So for any kind of digital seller, if you're wanting to use mockups, he talks about how to create mockups for your digital products, pro tips for making your mockups stand out on Etsy, and how to save and upload your mockups to your Etsy shop. So that is a $47 value. We also have a whole email marketing Q&A. So this was a call that I got to sit down with and interview Ashlyn from Ashlyn Writes. She is an expert in copywriting and all things email marketing. And I asked her my most burning email marketing questions specifically for product-based businesses. So she gave me all of her knowledge on that. It's super helpful. But it's a $397 value because in addition to the call that we had, she's actually including a whole bundle of her own CopyBar resources, which are templates that you can use in your email marketing. So she's giving us all of those for free. So what's included in that is her perfect welcome sequence template. This is a $197 value. This is going to tell you how to have a top-notch welcome sequence when you start building your email list. She also included 2 years of newsletter content ideas, which is so helpful. We all get to a point where we're probably wondering, what else can I send out in my newsletter? So if you need ideas for your content, that is 2 years worth of ideas. She also gives you 42 plug and play email subject line templates, as well as her perfect newsletter formula. So that whole bundle is offered to you for free in that bonus module of the course. We also have a Pinterest mini course with Corbin White from Zoco Marketing. So this is a 4-part series on Pinterest. So if you're interested in using Pinterest, like we talked about, to drive traffic to your shop, this is going to give you an intro to Pinterest to get you familiar with it, and then walk you through how to set up your account for success, how to do Pinterest keyword research and SEO for specifically Pinterest, and 4 tips to outpin your competition. So this is a $197 value. We also have an Instagram workshop by Amber Figlow from A Creative Co. So if you've chosen Instagram as your social media platform that you're going to focus on, this is going to be invaluable for you. She goes through in part 1, Instagram foundation. So this is how to set up your profile for success, what to post on Instagram, and going through the different Instagram surfaces and features that are available to you. And then in part 2, she goes through more advanced strategy as far as how to create a content strategy, share-worthy content, and Instagram for business tactics. So this Instagram workshop is a $297 value. And Amber also provided us with a TikTok workshop. So she is an Instagram and TikTok expert. They're different and they can be used in different ways. So let's say that TikTok is your platform that you want to focus on. She again provides a 2-part series talking about foundations and strategy for TikTok specifically, and goes through showing concept examples. She goes through the nitty-gritty of what you need on that platform to be successful. And that is also a $297 value. And then in addition to that, we have our tech and tutorials vault, which includes both a full series on Everbee and Sales Samurai. So if you remember, I said Everbee and Sales Samurai are my 2 picks for Etsy specific research. And so I love both. I use both, but I'm super excited because I reached out to both the founders of Everbee and Sales Samurai, and they both agreed to film tutorials specifically for our Etsy Income Academy students. So these tutorials are by the founders themselves, Cody from Everbee and Neil from Sales Samurai. And they will walk you through, if you decide to use one or the other, they'll walk you through the specific ways that you can use the different features that are available to you with those different tools and how you can use them for Etsy shop success. So the Everbee series is 4 parts. Cody goes over an intro to Everbee, setting up your account and your Chrome extension, the features and how to use them, and then product and trend research demonstration. So that's $147 value. And then similar thing with Sales Samurai. It's a 5-part series by Neil, the founder. He talks about how to get started, how to sync your shop with Sales Samurai, niche research, optimizing your listings, using the keyword research tool, creating listings inside of Sales Samurai, and how to use the competition tracker tool. So that's also $147 value. So there is just so much value jam-packed into both of these bonus modules. So when you add up the entire value of what's included inside of Etsy Income Academy, the whole package is over a $3,000 value, but we're giving it to you today for only a one-time payment of $497, or a payment plan of $97 a month. So the $97 a month does end up being a little bit more than the one-time payment. So if you're looking for the best value, the one-time payment is going to be your option, but the payment plan is there in case you need a 6-month plan to give you a little bit more convenience and accessibility. So either are available to you, and either way, you get instant access to everything included in the course. You're also a lifetime member of the course, which means you can go back and rewatch it as many times as you want, and you'll also get access to all of the future updates that we add. You can also join 100% risk-free. So we'll talk about our money-back guarantee in just a minute, but this package still gets better. I'm sure you thought it couldn't get better, but it does. So right now we are offering a limited time price discount, which is 40% off. That's $198 off when you choose the pay in full option. So this limited time discount is going to be active for the next 7 days. You have to use it within 7 days and it expires after that. We're also offering a fast action bonus for this masterclass only. You won't find this anywhere else. So if you enroll within the next 48 hours, you'll get our fast action bonus, which is free access to our VIP support group. This is our exclusive student only group. That's a community group where we have discussions, we can ask questions, we interact with each other, and you'll be able to have a community forum with the other students that are going through Etsy Income Academy. So we all know how invaluable it is when you're going through something to have other people to interact with that are going through it at the same time as you, to get your questions directly answered and to be able to have feedback. So this VIP support group is normally a $67 add-on to the course, but it's a fast action bonus. So if you enroll in the next 48 hours, you'll get access to that completely for free, and you'll have lifetime access to that as well. This is not a Facebook group. This is actually a group that is hosted on Kajabi, which is the same platform that the course is hosted on. So it's completely private and secure, and you don't have to have a Facebook account to access it. So I like to think about it like this. If you truly believe that I can help you make, let's say, $100 more per month with the strategies that I'm going to teach you, implementing those strategies, you can make $100 more per month than you're making now. Then in a matter of 3 months, you've already made your money back, your investment back, and you have set up your Etsy shop and your business for continued profit. So if you truly believe that these strategies could help you make an additional $100 a month, which I'm telling you, I've seen so many people do, and it's easy when you implement the right strategies. If you believe you could get to that point, then you've already made your money back in the matter of a few months, which to me is an amazing investment for you to have an Etsy shop then set up to continue earning from there. So like I said, we do offer a risk-free 100% money-back guarantee, which means that you can get inside the course, go ahead and sign up for it with no risk, get in there, look around and see if it's for you. And if it's not for you and it's not a good fit, just email us within 3 days of enrollment and we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. You're not going to have to show proof of any work or anything like that. It's a very simple refund policy. You can literally get in there and see if it's for you and request a refund if it's not. So whether you're wanting to sell physical products or digital products, and whether you still haven't even opened a shop on Etsy, or maybe you already have an Etsy shop and you just want to grow it and take it to the next level, this will work for you. Just like it worked for my student Giselle, she enrolled in Etsy Income Academy, and she had this to say after going through the course. She said, "This is not the first coaching course that I've taken, but this is the first coaching course that has made total sense." And she says it's not a brief overview. It's a step-by-step detailed explanation of what to do and how to do it. And then here's my student, Amber. I love Amber. She is like star student as she worked through this course. She just got so much out of it and started to see those results in her Etsy shop. And she left this amazing testimonial. But I just want to point out this one part of it where she said that every lesson and the strategies that I'm teaching are backed by strong statistical data, which is so true. I try to be really transparent about where I'm getting these statistics and why these strategies work. She said that Etsy Income Academy has everything you could possibly need to know for growing your Etsy shop. And she felt like it was also really encouraging, which makes me so happy because that's my goal, is not just to give you the strategies, but to encourage you and help you realize that it is possible. I've done it. So many of my students have done it, and you can do it too. And here's my student, Jeff. I love Jeff. He does amazing leather work. And I was so excited for him to go through the course because he had actually already been on Etsy for a few years. It wasn't like he was a complete beginner, but he said that he's run an Etsy shop for several years and still learn tons of things that he never knew before. He said that he felt like the course gave him the motivation to dig in and that he could do the work that it would take to be successful on Etsy. So friend, your business transformation starts now. Don't forget about those expiring bonuses. You have the 40% off, which is $198 off. That takes the price of the course and everything included down to just $299, but that's expiring in 7 days. So make sure you grab it before that 40% off expires. And then you do have the fast action bonus, which is only available for the next 48 hours. And that is the free access to our VIP student support group. That's normally that $67 add-on. You get it completely for free when you enroll in Etsy Income Academy within the next 48 hours. So don't let it pass you by. Grab it while it's available to you. These are amazing bonuses that you're only going to find on this masterclass. Remember that 40% off is only available if you choose the pay in full option. It's not available for the payment plan. So if you want to get that $198 off, you do need to choose that one-time payment option. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at kate@hayes.com. And if you're ready to enroll, go ahead and click that link below to get registered. I'm so excited for your future. I'm so excited for your business growth, and I'm so excited to welcome you to Etsy Income Academy.